It seems to be a trend in the fitness industry that people take a lot of steroids and stuff. And then they go, oh, I did it because I took, whatever, creatine. If we can get you, I'm not going to take steroids. It's not good for your body. But we'll see what happens.
Why are you going to say like that?
Well, you might not make it past the age of 37. It's a good...
Before or after the steroids?
No, you'd be fine without the steroid. We're going to put you on horse testosterone. Do I need this piece of paper? Okay, on today's episode of Santa Cruz Medicinals Radio, I'm going to be covering what the Santa Cruz Medicinals diet is. I get so many messages every single day, people being, either they already know and they go, I've been eating what you eat and I feel amazing, it's changed my life, or they have a lot of questions about what I eat. Do you eat fruit? Do you eat this? Do you eat that? I'm going to cover everything today. And I'm going to say, before I get into this podcast, of course, this is the world we live in. Talk to your doctor before you change anything in your diet. This diet doesn't cure anything at all. I'm just telling you what I do, okay? This is how I eat, this is how I live, and these are the messages people have sent me, stuff like that. So just got to say that. And as always, our podcast is brought to you by our company, our own company. So we have our Santa Cruz Paleo Protein that just launched. Our electrolytes launched. They're out of stock because they sold out, but they will be back in stock. And then Santa Cruz Medicinals, scmedicinals.com for the best potent CBD formulas that you'll ever find. Our deep sleep caps, Epsom salt is back in stock. I love that one. Our magnesium capsules, etc. So go support. If you want to type in Santa Cruz Paleo into Amazon and try out one of our formulas, try it out. So I eat a very unique diet. I don't think it's a special diet in terms of like broad human history, but in today's world, it is extremely unique what I eat. And I'm going to get into what I eat, why I do it, all that. So sort of the journey of why I started doing this is when I was around 19 years old, I was like, I want to get healthy. I want to be healthy. I like doing active things. I want to feel my healthiest. I want to look my best. What is a healthy diet? And unfortunately, I ran into what I think a lot of people run into, which is you go vegan. And I'm with my producer right now, Joe. We tried, literally, we were living together at the time. We did like a vegan diet, raw vegan diet, a lot of raw foods. It was absolutely horrible. You feel kind of good just going from a normal American diet, sometimes eat fast food, to eating all these more nutrient-dense foods. But very quickly, it gets difficult on the body. And that's what happened. And it sort of made me not reject health in a way, but like it made me think, wow, health eating is really hard. You don't feel good while you're eating healthy. But that's just not true. And I know that now. And then what started to happen is I came across Mark's Daily Apple, which is a paleo food blog. And I got really interested. I think I was trying to find out if oatmeal is good or bad. And I ran across this article, luckily, on Mark's Daily Apple, who's a legend in the paleo world. He created Primal Kitchen, which you may have seen. And it just blew my mind because at the time I was going to go study anthropology at UC Santa Cruz. So I was getting really into anthropology and how our ancestors lived, what they ate. And so I had that in my mind. I started to eat more of a paleo diet and started to feel really good on that. Not perfect, but way better. And then from there, I went and started studying anthropology at UC Santa Cruz, and I got really interested in how people eat, what they have eaten throughout human history, all of that type of stuff. And what you come to realize is our ancestors actually had amazing health. And they didn't have amazing health overall. Obviously, technology and modern medicine has benefited our health tremendously. But they did have amazing health in a lot of the issues that you and I are trying to fix today. Autoimmune issues, weight, skin issues, gut issues, all types of issues like that. They have really fixed a lot of those issues with just the way that they eat. Now, in these societies, if you break your leg, you might die because there's not modern medical care. For a woman giving birth, they might die giving birth. Oftentimes, the infant mortality rate is very high in these cultures, and there's not too many hunter-gatherer cultures out there today or people living like this because we've spread the modern world everywhere. But those are some risks that they had. They could die of viral infections. This is why I say you need to blend what we know from modern medicine with the ancestral ways of eating, because when you blend, and movement too, which is key, When you blend those two worlds together, you will have amazing health. So, what do I eat today and why do I eat this way? The main thing my diet is based around is really high quality animal protein. And I prefer to get my protein from ruminant animals, meaning animals that eat grass. So I'm a big fan of grass-fed beef. I'm a big fan of elk is a ruminant animal. Lamb is a ruminant animal. And the reason this food is extremely nutrient dense, way more nutrient dense than any vegetable you will find times 10. Meat has bioavailable protein. It's a rich source of B vitamins. It has amino acids like, carnitine, creatine. It's amazing. So I consume a lot of meat. If you want to listen to my podcast about red meat, you can go back. This podcast isn't going to be defending or get into the deep science of why I do what I do. It's just going to be about what I do. And the reason I eat a lot of meat is because I'm trying to hit a certain protein goal, because trust me, you feel amazing when you eat a good amount of protein. So that is mainly what my diet is based around right there. And then I do like to eat some carbohydrates. So I like to get my carbohydrates from fruit. You may have heard Dr. Paul Saladino talk about this, as my diet is very similar to the animal-based diet, except there's some things that I do differently, and I'll explain why. So with that, I eat a good amount of fruit, and I'm eating blueberries, apples, mangoes, bananas, watermelon, dates. I eat fruit and meat make up a good portion of my diet. What I also really love to eat is sweet potatoes and white rice. This is where I kind of go off the Paul Saladino train a little bit, and the animal-based train. I think white rice is a relatively non-toxic grain. When I eat it, I feel good. It doesn't give me gut issues like wheat does or other grains, so I do eat some white rice. I also like eating sweet potatoes, and I will eat regular potatoes sometimes. I don't get any issues with potatoes, and the reason that I prefer sweet potatoes is that they are far more nutrient dense than a white potato, and also that glycemic load from a sweet potato is less than a white potato. So I love baking sweet potatoes, throwing in a chunk of grass-fed butter, some cinnamon, some salt, and I love them. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes, different varieties of sweet potatoes, so that's also another source of carbohydrates for me. I am not fully anti-vegetable like some of the people in the animal-based community. I like eating some vegetables, but no longer, like when I was eating paleo, I thought, oh my God, I need to add kale to my ground beef when I eat my ground beef. I need to add, broccoli to my food, because why did I think this? I thought vegetables are nutrient dense. They're really good for you. You need all this fiber. You need the nutrients that greens provide. It turns out that is pretty much bullshit. You do not need the nutrients that greens provide. Also, when you overconsume foods like broccoli, even foods like kale, especially in its raw form, which a lot of people are doing today in the health community, you can overload your body with oxalic acid. Broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables contain a lot of compounds that can disrupt your thyroid function, and these are in large amounts. That's where I disagree with Paul Saladino when he's like, I completely avoid these, I'll never touch them. I don't think they're that dangerous, and I think there are some benefits of eating some polyphenol-rich foods like vegetables and some fiber-containing foods like vegetables, but I wouldn't do it in the large amounts that you might see anybody else who says, oh, I'm healthy. I am not every day trying to eat a big-ass salad. I'm not every day trying to load up as much broccoli as I can or make some green drink. I'm not trying to do that. So the vegetables I do eat, I just made a beef stew. It had some onions, celery, and carrots in there. I had some bok choy a couple nights ago. It's just not a main staple in my diet. When I go to the grocery store, the first thing on my mind is not how do I get, a bunch of good vegetables. And the thing is, a lot of them today are sprayed with pesticides, and you're really not getting that much nutrition out of those vegetables. And plant defense chemicals are a real thing. You can debate with Paul Saladino or Liver King on, there might be some benefits of those plant defense chemicals, but I think what we clearly do know from, a lot of people consuming raw kale and spinach over the last 10 years to be healthy is that there are dangers of over-consuming those plant defense chemicals, and they can give you kidney issues, they can give you thyroid issues. This is pretty well established. So much so that if you are on thyroid medication, they will tell you don't overconsume broccoli or other cruciferous vegetables because they can inhibit T3 in your thyroid. So you need to be careful about that if you're going crazy with them. But if you're just eating a moderate amount of vegetables and you like them, you like the way they taste, I say go for it. I'm not here to hate on vegetables. I just would question if you're making that like the main focus of your diet. Why are you doing that? Is it nutrients? Then you're just doing it wrong, because a small portion of grass-fed beef or wild fish, something like that, is way more nutrient dense. So when you get into proteins, what proteins do I eat? I do like eggs, pasture-raised eggs. I'm usually eating the egg yolks, but eggs are a good source of protein, relatively affordable. I eat mostly grass-fed beef. I like lamb, although I eat it a little bit less than grass-fed beef. It's just oftentimes more expensive. You got to do certain recipes with lamb to make it delicious. And then I also enjoy wild fish. Again, this is where Paul Saladino and I, trend off. He doesn't like wild fish because of mercury and these issues. I don't make it a staple of my diet that I'm eating every single day, but I do like some wild salmon, some wild cod, stuff like that. So I do eat some wild fish. I'm also a big fan of sardines. I don't think there's really a concern with mercury levels in sardines. They're also really rich in omega-3 fatty acids, so that's what makes up a large source of my protein. Now, do I eat chicken or turkey or pork? We'll get into them. I don't really eat too much pork anymore. Someone's making some bacon. I might have a little bit, but the problem with pork is that those animals, it's a very fatty animal, and almost all pigs, unless you're getting some, wild boar or something, which good on you if you're going and getting that. But if you're just buying pork at the grocery store, that animal is eating corn and soy. And that's going to create way more omega-6 in that animal. So you're eating a lot of omega-6 fatty acids if you're eating pork on the regular. So, if I eat it sometimes, whatever, but I'm not making it a main staple of my diet. Chicken and turkey are similar, but since they aren't as fatty of animals, I'm less worried about the omega-6 content in chicken and turkey. And so I do have some like chicken thighs sometimes, and I enjoy that. So I also will eat chicken probably once or twice a week. And I think, it's very affordable. It's delicious. It's good to add up some variety just for, compliance sake. Just being able to have a nice varied diet, having different meals. I have my cookbook in the link in my bio. You can check that out. There's a bunch of good recipes in there along with what I eat. And as far as like sweets and stuff go, I guess the main thing in my diet is what I don't eat. I don't eat any bread. Besides white rice, I'm not eating any grains. I make sure to cook with healthy fats. The fats that I use are beef tallow, ghee, grass-fed butter. I do like olive oil. I know it's not the perfect fatty acid composition, but a really good olive oil. I'm a fan of some of those polyphenols in olive oil like oleocanthal that benefit your brain. So I do like olive oil. Avocado oil is another one of those that I do use sometimes, but you got to be aware that a lot of the avocado oil out there is actually cut with seed oils, or it's just from a very poor source of avocados. You have to understand that avocados can actually sell for a lot of money, so there's not a lot of revenue in putting good avocados into making avocado oil. So be careful with your avocado oil. But yeah, I'm never eating industrial seed oils. And I say never. Look, I'll go out to eat sometimes, maybe once a month, and I'm probably eating seed oils. So I'm not so strict that I will just avoid them 100%, but I'm probably avoiding them 98%. I did a video where I go to Chipotle, and I have an order there that I get. They cook with seed oils. It's not the end of the world to ingest seed oils a tiny bit. The end of the world is when you over-ingest seed oils and all these omega-6 fatty acids, and your omega-3 to omega-6 ratio gets so skewed that your inflammatory biomarkers go up, and that's not a good position to be in. But I feel very balanced when I'm eating, grass-fed beef, which is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and I'm minimizing my exposure to those seed oils, and I'm cooking at home with fats like beef tallow, ghee, butter, olive oil, all that type of stuff. I do like raw honey, and like raw honey and fruit is oftentimes a dessert that I'll reward myself with, especially when I've been training hard, which is I'll talk about how hard you train and how much carbohydrates you should have a little bit. But I love raw honey. I get raw local honey. I'll have that with some apples. I'm not eating really any desserts. I'm not trying to eat dessert every night. If honestly, like our chocolate protein, if you blend that up, or make a recipe with it. Someone made like brownies with our chocolate protein because it's a very gelatinous, collagen-rich protein. Something like that is amazing. Sometimes we'll make our own ice cream here, which is just fruit and coconut milk. You basically throw that in an ice cream maker. You can look up some recipes, and that is a delicious, delicious dessert for me. So I'm not eating sweets. I'm not eating pastries, of course, all that. Hydration, I hydrate with reverse osmosis water with a pinch of sea salt or electrolytes in there when I'm working out. So I keep my body mineralized, and that's pretty much all I'm drinking. I used to drink coffee every day. I'm no longer doing that, and that is not to say that coffee isn't healthy. I'm not totally against coffee. So if you drink coffee every morning, I think that's fine. I think afternoon caffeine consumption, there's a huge issue with. So if you are trying to go to sleep at 10, 11, 12, and you're drinking caffeine, pre-workout, or coffee at like 2 or 3, that is going to damage your sleep. And I know you might say, well, I go to sleep, I feel okay. It doesn't matter. There's study after study after study showing that the half-life of caffeine is about 12 hours. It's going to interrupt your sleep. If you think it's not, that's okay, but eventually over time, it might take a couple years, you're going to have worse sleep, and thus you're going to have suppressed endocrine function, suppressed immune function, suppressed brain function. So I would not do caffeine later in the day. Why I kind of stopped drinking coffee, I only have it a few times, maybe a month when I'm traveling, is I was waking up with a lot of energy. When you eat this diet, I challenge you to do it for 30 days. See how you feel after 30 days. I was waking up with so much energy. I'm like, why am I drinking coffee right now? I have plenty of energy to go to the gym, do all the stuff I need to do. So now I use it. I use it a bit different. So I was in San Diego with one of my friends, and we had to wake up at 5 a.m. to go surf. I had some coffee that morning, and it was delicious. It was kind of a nice reward, and only needed a little bit. Hit me way harder. So yeah, I'm not against coffee fully. And then people say, well, what do I do? Like, if you're trying to scale this diet back a little bit and you're like, what do I do when I need to go out to eat? What is there to eat? It's true. It's very hard to eat at restaurants nowadays that don't use industrial seed oils. I would say about 99% of restaurants use industrial seed oils. Soybean oil being the most common one, canola oil being the second, and then rice bran oils up there. These restaurants just cook with these oils because they're way cheaper. They're oftentimes stored in big plastic vats in the back of a restaurant, and I'm not a fan of that. It's a joke my girlfriend and I have. Like, she'll be like, oh, we're going out to eat, and she'll like nudge me like, seed oils, and I'm like, yep, I know, I'm getting dosed of seed oils. It is what it is. But when I do go out to eat, I like eating Mexican food because I can get kind of like rice and meat. It generally fits in my diet. Another kind of treat that I will have, I guess the one thing that kind of strays off my diet is tacos. So I'll, have some corn there. I do think there are some issues with corn. If you have that regularly in your diet, there's some issues with mold. A lot of the corn is just exposed to mold, but it's not the worst thing in the world as far as grains go. So, I had sushi a few nights ago. That was delicious, some kind of high-end sushi. And so there's not a lot of options to eat out. That's the simple fact. But what I want to get into is when people hit me up and they're like, oh, I have these health issues, I have this, what should I do? Try this diet for 30 days. It's not a radical diet. It's a diet based around real whole foods. And the only reason that it seems extreme is because we live in this world where everybody's eating processed food, immense amounts of sugar, just artificial chemicals, preservatives, food dyes, all this stuff. They're eating this every single day, and it's been so normalized. It's been normalized to start your day with cereal or another type of bread product, and then for lunch, you have a sandwich, so you're having another type of bread product, and then dinner, maybe you have some pasta, or hopefully you have some protein or something, but you're eating wheat at every single meal. Oftentimes, people are eating sugar at every single meal, hidden sugars. And a lot of these snacks and stuff that people eat are filled with horrible ingredients. You think your protein bar is just like, oh, it's just some protein. Look at the ingredients on that. I guarantee you it has sugar in it. It has other preservatives that over time can really negatively affect your health. So I've had a lot of friends and a lot of people close to me try this diet for 30 days, and they feel absolutely amazing. It is a pricier diet. I'm not here to solve food prices or anything. Eating grass-fed beef is expensive. I think there's better ways you can do it in terms of price. You could go to Walmart, get some beef, get some fruit, get some good fats, cook stuff like beef stews. That's going to save you a lot of money. And, you got to, at some point, realize what your health is worth. If you just want to go get the cheapest food you can, then you're probably not going to get great food. So I recommend that you try this diet for 30 days. People are calling it the Santa Cruz Medicinals diet. It's basically animal-based with a little more leeway, which is sweet potatoes, white rice, some veggies, just a little more leeway there. So that is pretty much what I eat. The biggest thing that I think people need to notice when they're starting this diet is when they hear that I eat fruit, sometimes people go crazy with that and they just start their morning with a bunch of fruit and they just go off and they're ingesting tons of carbohydrates, which it's going to be very difficult to achieve good body composition when you're ingesting tons of carbohydrates. If you're working out like a normal amount, if you're some professional athlete or something, cool, eat a lot of carbohydrates, you'll probably burn it all off. So I like to start my morning with one of our protein shakes. So I just blend this up, sometimes with coconut water or coconut milk. And yeah, that's a really good way to start your day. There's going to be a lot of protein in there. Sometimes I'll eat leftover steak with like some blueberries. I know it's kind of weird, but don't knock it till you try it. And yeah, this diet requires you to cook a lot more. So I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but I've sort of fallen in love with cooking a good steak, as you might know, you might have seen. So that is the Santa Cruz Medicinals diet. I think it's absolutely amazing for fixing your gut, fixing your skin, putting on muscle. Just my brain fog is completely gone. When you eat a lot of these foods that have all these plant defense chemicals or just are made with preservatives or they're just so heavy in sugar, it can really bog down your health. And when you eliminate them and you eat this sort of animal-based Santa Cruz Medicinals diet, you're going to feel amazing. And I always tell people, if you're going to start this diet, it is tough the first week or two if you're just coming from doing a normal diet. And if you're used to eating very low fat or you're trying to do like the fake healthy thing, I call it, like a vegan thing, you might need to throw in a digestive enzyme or something to help your body acclimate to eating, real levels of protein. And so that is what I eat. That is what I do. If you've tried it, comment below. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, let me know. Message me anytime. Comment below. And yeah, I'm here to help you out. I post my food pyramid on my Instagram of kind of what I eat. And I have recipes in the link in my bio so you can kind of see like what it's like. But you can look up the animal-based diet. You can see what people are doing out there. This is a diet that is very species appropriate. When you look into the history of what we have eaten as human beings, it's very consistent with what your ancestors ate. And I'm not talking about your grandpa or your great-grandpa. I'm talking about millions of years ago, what your ancestors ate and what you've evolved to eat. So it's a diet based on the fact that we are omnivores. We can eat a lot of different types of foods, but I like to increase my consumption of those very nutrient-dense foods with stuff that your body craves for your hormone production, to regenerate your skin, foods that are rich in collagen, like this protein or like a good cut of beef. So yeah, that is what I eat. If you have any questions, let me know. Just want to do a quick podcast because I get this question a lot. People are like, what do you eat? How do I do it? You're going to have to figure some of that out yourself in terms of the cooking and stuff. You're going to have to learn some stuff. But I promise you, just try it for 30 days. What's 30 days of your life? Dial in your diet, dial in your sleep, dial in your exercise. And if after 30 days you feel no benefit, go back to eating whatever you're eating. All good. But that is what I eat. I'm Brennan with Santa Cruz Medicinals. Peace.